Welcome back. In the previous class, I have discussed about the properties of the Laplace transform. In today's class, I am going to talk about the initial value and, final value theorems. So basically, using this theorem, it is possible to find the initial value of some function ft at t equal to 0 and final value for very large time when t is tending towards infinity, that is called f infinity, directly from the Laplace transform. So if you know the Laplace transform, by applying these two theorems, I am able to obtain the initial value and final value of some function in the time domain. So from frequency domain, it is possible to know the value, initial and final value of some function in the time domain. That is the beauty of the initial value and final values theorem. So let us talk about the aim of today's class. So aim is to find the initial value. So I am denoting initial value by f0 and the final value I am going to denote that by f infinity directly from its Laplace transform fs. So again, what I am assuming that I am assuming that I have some signal, and that signal I am going to represent in frequency domain by fs, and I know that signal ft in the time domain. So from frequency domain, I want to guess the initial value and final value of this particular function. So to obtain this relation, I am going to take the help of the property, and we have already know the property that is called differentiation property. So I am going to use the differentiation property. So I am going to use the differentiation property, and in previous class we have seen that if I will take the Laplace transform of some differentiation of some function, that is df by dt, that is nothing but s fs minus f0, where f0 is the initial condition. Now if I allow s is tending towards infinity, so I can also write this quantity like this in using the definition of Laplace transform, e power minus st into dt. Now what I am going to do, I am going to allow, if we let s tending towards infinity, so I am allowing s tending towards infinity, I am denoting this integral by 1, the integrand in 1 vanishes due to damping or exponentially decaying exponential factor. Whenever we are using this word damping, means something we are going to lose, and one becomes, basically I have something like this. I am going to take limit on both sides. So basically I have limit s tending towards infinity, and after that I have s into fs minus f0, and that equal to 0. So, and after that we know that because f0 is independent of s, due to this reason we can obtain the following. So we can write f0, that is nothing but limit s tending towards infinity s into fs. So this particular result is known as the initial value theorem. So let us write it. This is known as the initial value theorem, because using this theorem means that as s tending towards infinity, and if I multiply the Laplace transform by s, then I am able to recover the initial value. That is the statement of this theorem. I am not writing this in terms of theorem, but if you check the mathematics literature, people are writing in terms of theorem. So due to that reason, people are also telling initial value theorem, but using the help of property directly I have driven this, and after that I am telling that f0 can be obtained like this. So let us try to see one example, and using that example try to calculate the initial value. So suppose that I have some, so I am going to discuss some example, and I have function like this, ft equal to e power minus 2t cos 10t into ut, and I know the Laplace transform of this is, since I am multiplying with exponential, so frequency is going to shift by same amount, and s plus 2, so everywhere I am going to replace s by s plus 2, and this is nothing but 10 square. Now I am going to use the using the initial value theorem, I can write like this: f0 is nothing but limit s tending towards infinity. So in order to find initial value, you can see that I am making s very large. So somehow s tending towards infinity is exactly same as f0, and this is obvious because the relation between time domain and frequency domain is inverse with respect to each other. Due to that reason, one can also guess why this relation is going to hold. And after that, sfx, so I have limit and s tending towards infinity, and after that I have s square plus 2s by s square plus 4s plus 10 squared. So 10 square is 100, and after that it is possible, not difficult, to show that this is nothing but 1. And from the signal, if you see our original signal, then original signal is ft equal to e power minus 2t cos 10 t into ut. So if you substitute t equal to 0, so from here also one can easily see that that is equal to 1, and same kind of result we are recovering from the frequency domain also. So this is the one of the very much important result, that from frequency domain I can guess the initial value. Now let us talk about the final value theorem. So now I am going to talk about the final value theorem. So again I am going to start with the same differentiation property. So I have basically s into fx minus f0, and that is the Laplace transform of the differentiation of the function. So I am going to select the eraser. So basically this is df by dt, and in terms of Laplace transform I can write like this: infinity df by dt e power minus st into dt. Now in order to calculate the final value, I am going to allow this integral, means I have given name of this integral as equation number 1. So I am basically using same equation. So in 1, now we are going to assume that s tending towards 0, because I have to calculate the final value, and I have already told you that means a relation between time domain and frequency domain is inverse with respect to each other. Due to that reason, one can expect that why I am taking s tending towards 0, because I have to find the final value. So I have to take limit s tending towards 0, and after that I have sfs minus f0 minus. So basically I am doing like this, that is equal to 0 minus infinity df by dt e power 0 t into dt. So that is nothing but 0 minus infinity, and that is equal to df. So basically I have f infinity minus f 0 minus. So from here I can also see that f infinity, which is again independent of s, that is limit s tending towards 0 and s fx. Like this. So, and again this result has the name. So this is referred to as the final value theorem. Now I have to become little bit careful whenever we are applying the final value theorem, and this is basically required because we are not knowing that what is going to happen at the infinity. For initial value there is no problem, because we are assuming that whatever initial condition we are going to provide, that is the some finite value, but we are not sure about the infinity. So in order to apply the final value theorem, we have restriction is like this. The all poles means whenever, if you see the fs means the structure of means something in frequency domain, then you have some kind of function fs that has a certain kind of denominator, certain kind of numerator, where we have denominator polynomial, we have numerator polynomial. So if you are putting denominator polynomial equal to 0, that is called poles of the function fs, or if you are going to put numerator equal to 0, then that is called zeros of dfs. So condition is like this. So I am going to write this important thing as a remark. So blindly I cannot apply the final value theorem. That is due to that reason I am giving separate emphasis on this initial value and final value. So in order for the initial value theorem to hold, all poles of fs must be located in the left half of the S plane. So what we are telling, that if you remember the second lecture, at that time, second lecture on the Laplace transform, at that time we are talking about the region of convergence. So whenever we are calculating the region of convergence, we have to, in S plane we have two axes. This is the real axis and this is the imaginary axis. So in order to apply the final value theorem, so sorry, here I have written initial value, but this is not initial, this is final value. So in order to apply the final value theorem, I have to see the region of convergence, and we have to make sure that all the poles means Fs has some numerator and some denominator. So putting ds equal to 0, I can calculate the poles, and whatever pole, so I have to make sure that that is going to lie in this particular side. So meaning of this left half plane is in another way, that the poles must have negative real parts, and during the inverse Laplace transform you are again able to understand this point in more clear way. So, and we have one more exception here, and I am going to write that exception using different color. The only exception to this requirement is the case in which Fs has a simple pole. Simple pole means power of s equal to 1, that equal to s equal to 0, because the effect of 1 by s will be nullified by s into Fs in F infinity, means that is final value, that is equal to, we have already seen, that is like this, s into Fs. So that is nullified if I have one simple pole at s equal to 0. But in order to apply this theorem, we have to make sure that either we have simple pole at s equal to 0, because if simple pole at s equal to 0, then 1 by s is automatically nullify s into fs. So again our result is going to hold there in that case also. But most of time I have to make sure that the poles have negative real part, then only I can apply the final value theorem. Let us try to visualize this kind of point using one example, then I think that whatever I have discussed that become more transparent to you. So let us start with one example. So suppose my function ft is e power minus 2t into sine 5t and ut. Now let us try to find the Laplace transform of this. So again by frequency shifting I can able to find the Laplace transform directly, and now I am going to apply the final value theorem. So applying the final value theorem, you can see that f infinity is nothing but limit s tending towards 0 s into fs. So I have limit s tending towards 0, and this is 5s s square plus 4s into 29, that is equal to 0. So and same kind of things we are as expected from given ft. And here you can see that if you see this pole, then it is not difficult to show that poles is on the negative half plane of lies in the negative half plane of complex plane. Now let us take the another interesting example, and using that example you are able to get some kind of contradiction. So as another example, so at this time I am going to take this function, that is sine t into ut, and again one can see the Laplace transform of this is nothing but fs equal to 1 by s square plus 1, and if I know the Laplace transform, then I can apply the final value theorem. So I am going to find the final value after application of this theorem, that is limit s tending towards 0 s into fs. So basically I have limit s tending towards 0, and after that I have s square plus 1, and that equal to 0. And try to see here that this result is no longer correct. So this is incorrect because ft into sin t oscillates between +1 and -1. So we are not able to know that what is the exact value at the very large time that is going to oscillate between +1 and -1, but final value theorem suggests that that value is exactly 0 and does not have a limit as t tending towards infinity. So in order to apply final value theorem in another way, either in frequency domain you have to see the pole, or in time domain means whatever signal we are expecting, that signal should have some kind of limit at infinity. Only then we are able to recover the final value. So limit at infinity is nothing but the poles of the transfer function, and we are assuming that that pole, whatever pole, that should be lie in the left half plane. So what we are claiming, I am going to write as a remark, thus the final value theorem cannot be used to find the final value, because we are not sure about the final value that is oscillating between -1 to 1 of ft equal to sin t, and try to see the frequency domain now, because fs has poles at s equal to ±g. So that is which is not in the left half of the S plane. So whenever you are applying some kind of theorem, several times I have told you that please try to see the condition. So if you will not check the condition, then what happens that you are able to get the wrong result. So in general, the final value theorem does not apply in finding the final values of sinusoidal functions or purely sinusoidal function, you can tell, because if I multiply that signal with some kind of exponential, then again we get some kind of limit. These functions oscillate forever and do not have final values. So the initial value and final value theorem depict the relationship between the origin and infinity in the time domain and S domain. Due to this reason, they serve as the useful to check the Laplace transform, because we have certain kind of relation at 0 and infinity. So whatever Laplace transform you are getting, that is correct or not. So using these two theorem, you are able to check that kind of things also. In previous class, I have discussed the several property, but I forget one more property, that is Laplace transform of the periodic function, that is called periodicity also. So I am going to discuss that property, and after that I am going to close the today's class. So whenever we have certain kind of periodic function, so we have already know the definition of periodic function is like this, that equal to ft for t greater than 0. So t is called the period of this function. So I am going to talk about one theorem, and the main beauty of this theorem is that if you able to know the Laplace transform, if you have to calculate the Laplace transform of some periodic function, so it can be obtained by integration just over one period. So there is no need to worry about the whole domain, we have to just worry about the one period, and using one period I can recover the Laplace transform. So let us write this kind of things in form of theorem also, that is possible. So I am going to write in form of theorem, and this is called transform of a periodic function, and this kind of result is pretty much useful when you will go to the next semester and going to read the power electronics and these kind of subject, where people are using the periodic signals as a excitation. Apart from the sinusoidal, sometimes we are using the gate signal or something like that, like this. So if ft is piecewise continuous, so I am putting this sufficient condition somehow on 0 to infinity of exponential order. So this will gives the guarantee that there exists a Laplace transform, and periodic with period t, then I can able to write the Laplace transform, and Laplace transform is ft, so that is 1 by 1 minus e power minus st, and integration from 0 to t e power minus st ft into dt. So let us try to see the proof. Proof is very simple. So I am going to talk about the proof of this theorem. So since we have assumed that ft piecewise continuous and of exponential order, so automatically one can calculate the Laplace transform of that function. So Laplace transform of ft one can denote like this: 0 to t e power minus st ft into dt, and plus one more term, that is because I have to calculate Laplace transform from 0 to infinity. So I have break this Laplace transform into two parts. Since signal is periodic, due to that reason I have just calculated integral over one period, and after that I have collected all other integral from t to infinity. Now when we let t equal to u plus t, the last integral means integral from t to infinity becomes, so I can write this part of the integral. So I am talking about basically this part. So I can write like this: t to infinity e power minus st ft into dt. So I can also write like this: 0 to infinity e power minus s u plus t and f u plus t into du. So I have converted into u, t by u. So I can also write this as a e power minus st 0 to infinity. So this is very simple to do. So that is nothing but e power minus st Laplace transform of ft. So now basically from this I can directly write like this. So now I am going to write the next obvious step. Therefore I can write Laplace transform of ft is 0 to t e power minus st ft into dt plus e power minus st and Laplace transform of ft. So and from this I can prove, if I will take this part on this side, then I can also write like this: ft is 1 by 1 minus e power minus st and 0 to t e power minus st into ft into dt. So now let us try to see one example, and after that I will close the today's lecture. So suppose I am going to discuss one problem. Suppose our wave is something like this. This is, you can assume, some wave like et, and this is time. So I have 1, and suppose this is dot dot, you can assume, and again I have signal like this. So actually I am writing, otherwise meaning become different. So now I have this, after that I have this, and suppose again I have this, and after that this, and this kind of sequence. Suppose I have this, and after that this. So this point is 2, 3, 4. Similarly I have. So, and if I have to find the Laplace transform, so this wave is also called a square wave. So find the Laplace transform of et. So you can see that here et is the periodic signal, and period I can see that is 2. So basically I am going to talk about the solution. So t equal to 2, and I can define the signal, et signal, like this. Et equal to 1 if that will lie between 0 to 1, and that equal to 0 if that will lie between 1 to 2. So basically 2 is not included, so you can use the open bracket here. And after that I have this E t plus 2 equal to et, so that is periodic signal. So I can calculate the Laplace transform. So Laplace transform of et, and in order to calculate that I have to write 1 e power minus ts. So t is 2s, and after that integration from one period e power minus s t et into dt. So again you can write this integral into two parts, and if you check, then final result will come like this. So I am just going to write directly the final result. So check it. So in this way, and in order to get the final result, I have used this following thing, that e power 2s is nothing but 1 plus e power minus s multiplied by 1 power minus s. So this kind of equality I am using. So under this equality I am able to get this kind of result. So I have already told you that during the course of power electronics, you have certain time you have LR circuit or RLC circuit, and you have a square wave. At that time you have to calculate the total response. At that time these kind of techniques are very much useful. So with this discussion I am going to close the today's lecture. Thank you very much.